Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Wisdom and Wit. We've got a hell of a show for you tonight, so buckle up and prepare to laugh your asses off. Now, I know y'all are wondering, Jimmy, what's the deal with all this political tension lately? Well, let me tell you, it's gotten so bad that wearing a hat is like strapping a target to your forehead. You know things are messed up when your fashion choices are more dangerous than my cousin Bubba's homemade fireworks. Speaking of dangerous fashion, I heard about this fella in New York who got his ass handed to him for wearing a Trump hat in a supermarket. Can you believe that? A supermarket. I mean, I thought the most dangerous thing in a supermarket was the expired milk, but apparently it's the produce section. You're just trying to pick out a nice, firm cucumber, and bam, politics hits you right in the face. Now, I'm not saying which side I'm on, but let me tell you, if I'm going to get beat up over a hat, it better be because I wore my I'm with stupid cap to my family reunion again. That was a mistake I won't be repeating anytime soon. But seriously, folks, what's the world coming to when you can't even go grocery shopping without worrying about getting your teeth knocked out? I mean, I expect that kind of violence at a Black Friday sale, but not on a regular Friday morning. At this rate, we're going to need security guards in the cereal aisle. Sir, step away from the Frosted Flakes. And it's not just supermarkets, folks. This MAGA hat drama is spreading faster than my Uncle Earl's rash at a nudist colony. Even the NFL is getting in on the action. You've got players showing up to interviews wearing MAGA hats like they're sponsored by M. What's next? I heard about this one player, Nick Bosa, who crashed an interview wearing a MAGA hat. Now, I'm no football expert, but I'm pretty sure that's not the kind of protection they're talking about when they say protect the quarterback. Although I gotta admit, it takes balls to wear a political hat on national TV. Then again, he's a football player, so he's probably used to having his balls on display. But here's where it gets really wild, folks. Some politician in California got so worked up about it, he called for Bosa to be traded to Mar-a-Lago. Now, I'm no geography expert, but last time I checked, Mar-a-Lago ain't got no football team, unless you count all those rich old guys playing grab ass in the locker room. Can you imagine if we started trading politicians based on their hats? We'd have more trades than a middle school lunch table. I'll give you 2 senators and a governor for that guy in the Make America Great Again beanie. It'd be like fantasy football, but with more fantasy and less football. And don't even get me started on the whole stadium hat fiasco. You've got people being told to take off their MAGA hats just to watch a game. I mean, come on. The only hat that should be banned at a football game is one of those cheesehead things. And that's just because no one should have to sit behind that monstrosity. But here's the real kicker, folks. The team had to apologize for it. Can you believe that? They're out here apologizing for hat control when they should be apologizing for their defense. I mean, if you're going to make people take off their hats, at least make it count. Sorry, sir, you can't wear that hat in here. Now, I know what you're thinking. Jimmy, why can't we all just get along? Well, let me tell you, if we could solve all our problems by taking off our hats, my Uncle Cletus would have been a genius years ago. But no, we're stuck in this weird place where a hat has more power than a politician's promises. It's like we're living in some bizarro world where the Second Amendment protects your right to bear arms, but your right to bear heads is up for debate. What's next? Are we going to start regulating underwear? Sir, I'm going to need you to remove those Trump boxers. But hey, at least we're keeping it interesting, right? I mean, who needs reality TV when you've got real-life drama happening in the produce aisle? It's like the Real Housewives of Walmart, but with more bruises and less plastic surgery. All right, folks, I've yapped your ears off enough about hats and politics. It's time to bring out our next comedian. He's a man who knows a thing or two about hats, hair, and making America great again. Give it up for the one, the only Donald.
Thanks, Jimmy. You're a real class act. Speaking of which, did you hear about the Secret Service's latest mess-up?
Yeah, they released this report about Trump's assassination attempt.
Talk about a comedy of errors. So picture this. It's July 13, 2024, and Trump's at a rally in Butler, Pennsylvania. The Secret Service is there, supposedly protecting him. But let me tell you, they were about as useful as a condom in a nunnery. These guys had more communication issues than a couple in marriage counseling. They're supposed to be the elite cream of the crop, but they were stumbling around like a bunch of drunk frat boys at a sorority party. You know what their big problem was?
Unclear understanding of duties. Yeah, no kidding. Their duty is to protect the president, not play Candy Crush on their phones. It's not rocket science, people.
But wait, it gets better.
They had planning failures. What were they planning, a quinceañera? It's a presidential rally, not a surprise party for grandma. I mean, come on. These are the guys we trust to protect our leaders. They couldn't protect a ham sandwich from a fat kid. Yeah, I said it. Sui me. But here's the kicker. They actually admitted it was a failure for the Secret Service. No kidding, Sherlock.
What gave it away?
The fact that some nutjob got close enough to take a shot at Trump? Or was it when they realized their earpieces were actually just AirPods playing the latest Taylor Swift album? You know, I've seen better security at a trailer park meth lab. At least those guys know how to use a radio. The Secret Service, they couldn't relay critical information if their lives depended on it.
And guess what?
Their lives do depend on it.
But don't worry, folks. They're making changes.
Big changes.
Huge changes. They're going to provide enhanced protection for Trump. What does that mean? Are they going to wrap him in bubble wrap? Give him a helmet?
Or maybe they'll just stick him in one of those hamster balls.
Pull him right into his next rally.
And get this, they're increasing staffing for Trump's detail. Great idea. Because when you've got a bunch of incompetent idiots, the solution is clearly to add more incompetent idiots. It's like trying to put out a fire by throwing more matches at it. Oh, and they're expanding the use of unmanned aerial systems. In other words, drones. Because nothing says we've got this under control like a bunch of toy helicopters buzzing around.
What's next? Are they going to arm them with Nerf guns?
But my favorite part, they're improving radio communications. Wow, welcome to the 21st century, guys. Maybe next they'll discover this amazing new technology called the internet. Or hey, how about smoke signals? That might be more their speed.
And let's not forget the enhanced tactical coverage. What does that even mean? Are they going to start wearing camouflage? Hide in the bushes?
Or maybe they'll just stand really, really close to Trump. So close that if anyone takes a shot, they'll hit a Secret Service agent instead. Now that's what I call taking one for the team. But seriously, folks, this is the state of our national security. These are the people we're trusting to protect our leaders. It's like hiring a bunch of clowns to guard Fort Knox.
Actually, that might be an improvement. At least clowns know how to communicate without words. You know, I'm starting to think maybe we should outsource this job. I hear the Yakuza are pretty good at protection. Or how about those guys who guard the Pope?
They've got those fancy uniforms and everything. Plus, they've managed to keep an old man in a dress safe for centuries. That's gotta count for something. But no, we're stuck with the Secret Service. The same guys who couldn't spot a threat if it was wearing a neon sign saying, "I'm here to assassinate the president." The same guys who think radio silence means turning off their Walkman.
You know what?
I've got a better idea. Let's just give Trump a gun. He's always talking about the Second Amendment, right? Let him exercise his right to bear arms. Hell, give him 2 guns. And a bulletproof toupee while we're at it. But hey, at least they're trying to make changes. They're committed to implementing further changes and recommendations. Ooh, recommendations. Because that's what you want when your life is on the line. A strongly worded suggestion.
You know what? I think I've figured out the real problem here.
The Secret Service is just too secret. They're so secret they don't even know what they're doing.
Maybe we should rename them. How about the obvious service?
Or the we're standing right here in black suits and sunglasses service? But don't worry, folks. Congress is on the case. They're going to investigate the assassination attempt. Because if there's one thing Congress is good at, it's figuring out why things went wrong after they've already gone wrong. It's like closing the barn door after the horse has bolted, the barn has burned down, and the farmer has moved to Florida.
You know, I'm starting to think maybe we should just let the candidates protect themselves. Give them all a crash course in Krav Maga and send them out there.
It couldn't be any worse than what we've got now. Plus, imagine the ratings boost for the debates. But in all seriousness, folks, this is a pretty scary situation. When the people tasked with protecting our leaders can't even get their act together, it makes you wonder what else they're screwing up. Are they guarding the nuclear codes with the same level of competence?
Is the White House being protected by the Three Stooges?
I mean, come on. This is the United States of America, not some banana republic. Although, given the state of our Secret Service, maybe we are a banana republic. At least bananas have some appeal.
But hey, look on the bright side. At least now we know why they wear those dark sunglasses all the time.
It's not to look cool, it's to hide the fact that they're constantly rolling their eyes at their own incompetence.
All right, folks, I've got to wrap this up.
But before I go, I want to introduce you to our next act.
She's a firecracker from the South who's about to make you question everything you thought you knew about Southern charm.
Give it up for the one, the only Dixie.
Well, thank you kindly, Benji. I haven't been this excited since I caught my cousin using my toothbrush to clean his gun. Now that's what I call a real taste of the Second Amendment. Speaking of unexpected events shaping things, did y'all hear about that assassination attempt on Trump in Butler? I swear, that man's got more lives than a cat in a blender. He got shot, started bleeding, and still managed to pump his fist like he was at a Skynyrd concert. Talk about obstinate. The only thing tougher than Trump is my Aunt Mabel's meatloaf, and that thing could survive a nuclear blast. You know, for a hot minute there, folks thought the race was over, but then Biden decided to drop out faster than a Hollywood starlet's dress at an Oscars after party. I guess he finally realized his chances of winning were about as good as finding a vegetarian at a pig pickin'. Now, I don't know what role that assassination attempt played in Biden's decision, but I reckon it was about as subtle as a bull in a china shop wearing tap shoes. One minute he's insisting he ain't going nowhere, the next he's out like last week's garbage. It's like watching a game of political musical chairs, except the music stopped and Biden realized he was sitting on a whoopee cushion. But let me tell ya, the real show started when Kamala Harris decided to grace us with her presence in some interviews. Bless her heart, she was about as prepared as a nudist in a snowstorm. She kept flip-flopping more than a fish out of water at a line dancing competition. When Lester Holt asked her about her change in views, she said, "My values have not changed. Well, honey, neither has the litter in my cat's box, but that don't mean it ain't full of shit." And don't even get me started on that Brett Baer interview. It was more painful to watch than my Uncle Cletus trying to explain blockchain technology after his third bottle of moonshine. I swear by the end of it, voters were more frustrated than a one-legged man in a butt-kicking contest. Now, y'all remember that debate where Trump made that comment about pets and migrants in Springfield? Lord have mercy, the liberals started screaming racism faster than a vegan at a BBQ joint. But here's the kicker. It got people talking about the migrant asylum program. Suddenly, folks were more fired up than a tick on a hot griddle. It's like Trump accidentally stumbled onto the truth while searching for his Twitter password. And then we got the Teamsters snubbing Harris like she was offering them a vegan potluck. I haven't seen a rejection that harsh since my high school crush turned me down for prom, and I was wearing my best camo tuxedo. It was like watching a house of cards collapse, except the house was made of liberal dreams and the cards were printed with "I'm with her" stickers.
You know, politics is like my Aunt Bessie's chili. You never know what's going to come out in the end, but you can bet your sweet Bippy it's going to be explosive.
These events made voters sit up and pay attention faster than a Southern Belle spot in a sale on hairspray. And let me tell ya, for one side or the other, there's going to be a hangover coming that'll make New Year's Day look like a walk in the park. Well, folks, that's all the time I've got. Remember, no matter who wins this election, we're all in this together. Like a family stuck in an RV on a cross-country trip with no air conditioning. So let's try to get along, or at least pretend to, like we do at Thanksgiving dinner. Good night, y'all, and may your ballot be as straight as my aim after a few shots of whiskey.